This is Zach Blake coming at you from Charleston, South Carolina for New Life Health Ministries. Wait, what? No! Heartbeat, fast. Pulse, fast. Respiratory rate, high. Eyes, dilated, sweaty. I must be having a sympathetic nervous system response, or stress. Oh man, wasn't that a close call? Me almost getting hit by a car? Huh. I mean, whew. Way to dodge a bullet there. But no, seriously, if you think about it, what happened? I was standing there recording, a car comes whizzing by pretty quick, honks his horn at me, and all of a sudden I get this tight feeling in my chest, I start to sweat a little bit, my eyes dilate like they focus, and I feel like I need to run away, right? All of that is a response from something called the sympathetic nervous system. Or an easier way to think about it is a flight or fight response. See, our body is wired to have two different nervous systems. You have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And that was a sympathetic response. I was either going to fight the car or run away from it. In this case, I would have ran away from it. But more importantly, when we look at stress in general, that causes that type of response. And mild to moderate stress is okay, because it makes you get things done. Think about it like this. You have one test to do. Would you rather just get the studying out of the way and get it done with, so that way then you can go to bed early and get up feeling refreshed and go and knock out that test, right? Or would you rather sit around and just not study for it and just let it pile up, making you feel worse? No, it's one test. You're going to knock it out. You're going to get it done with, and you're going to feel great about it. But what about the day or during finals? Let's talk about finals. When you have 2 tests every day for 5 days. Who really wants to do that? So if you're anything like I am, you procrastinate. And you let it build up and up and up and up, causing an even more issue, a bigger issue. See, mild to moderate stress is okay. It's perfectly fine. It makes you fight or fly. Basically, you get work done. Whether that means you need to go get it done, or you need to fight it and get it done. Either way, you're getting it done. I've said that now 3 times. I think you get the point. But when you have significant stress, people tend to let it just build and build and build and build. And that's an issue. It's not healthy. Procrastination is not healthy. You know, I can't help but think about, you know, me being in nursing school. You know, I have clinical paperwork, and the packets are generally about 10 pages long. And, you know, they're due in a week, right? So, you know, I get home from clinical, I have my little notepad that I take notes on, and I throw it to the side, right? And then I don't look at it for a week. And then when it comes time for me to do it, well, I don't remember half the stuff about what I was writing about, and it takes me forever to complete the paperwork. And as, you know, the day progresses, and 9 o'clock turns to 10 o'clock, and 10 turns to 11, and 11 turns to 12, and I'm like, well, in 5 hours I have to get up and go to clinical, I'm freaking out. It's not good. It can cause anxiety, and on top of that, it can actually cause people to just flat out slow down. You know, I know of a story where a friend of mine had basically everything laid out for him, and they got really way in deep over their head with all the extra stuff that they were trying to do. And I mean, they were trying to do sports, and they were trying to help out with charities, and they were trying to get A's in school, and they were saying yes to everybody. And what happened is that person collapsed in on themselves. And they became depressed because they couldn't keep up with it. It was bad. It was a bad situation. Stress has a huge effect on the mind. It makes you second guess what you're doing in life. It makes you feel useless and hopeless, and it makes you want to just, give up. Especially if it's significant stress. But, a way to combat significant stress for the mind is by eustress, which is good stress. What are ways to allow good stress on the body? Well, one way that I can think of is exercise, because it releases certain hormones in your body that makes you feel good. It makes you feel relaxed. It makes you feel regenerated. It makes you feel renewed. To be able to then say, okay, I've done this. Now let's go and get the work done and complete it. And then it's all better. Right? But what about stress on the body? When it comes to your brain and stress and that sympathetic nervous system, it's almost like a spidey sense. Spider-Man, pew, 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 pew. Great power comes great responsibility, or something that old uncle said that died, in like the first comic or something. I don't know. Regardless, it's like this sixth sense where something is wrong. Think about it like this, okay? You are walking down the hallway in school, and someone says something about maybe a quiz that was due, or a homework, basically, that was due, and you forgot to do it. How do you feel? You get that tightness in your chest. You start to think about the fact that, crap, I just forgot to do my work. You start to scramble. You don't know what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and you just can't help but feel lost. Right? But what else can stress do to your body? Well, for one, I feel that stress can cause significant pains. And sometimes it's pain that isn't even supposed to be there, or ghost pain, really. Pain that has no reason to be there at all. For example, with me, I've had significant back pain now since my surgery that I talked about, that I'll be talking about probably in a later video. However, the back pain gets worse every time I'm in a stressful situation. I mean, all over my back, just the sharp, intense pain. I'm constantly taking Tylenol for it, but when I'm stressed, that doesn't even help. And, why? Why does that hurt? Why, when the weather changes, some people's joints hurt? I mean, it's all about certain types of stress and how the body reacts to it. Now, is there anything you can do for that pain? I think physical therapy is a way to help. I certainly am going to be going to physical therapy here soon. Hopefully in the next week, to start strengthening up my back so that way maybe it doesn't hurt as bad. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that stress has it's intense on the body, period. Okay? It's difficult. So how can you fix that? Again, eustress, exercise, yoga, certain therapies like, let's see, I know aromatherapy works. Sometimes oils, um, peppermint oil, lavender oil, lemon oil. You know, you've seen them around. They're these alternative therapies to medicine, and for the most part, a lot of them do help. I've seen them help. Acupuncture can even help relieve stress. A simple back massage, or you know, a head massage can help, especially when it comes to pain that is caused from the stress. Because, you know, when my back starts to hurt, all I can think is, okay, what did I forget to do? What do I need to go do? What do I need to get done? You know? And that's just how it is. But, you know, what about stress and the soul? You know, as a Christian, we know for a fact that our lives are not easier. If not, they're probably more difficult to live than those that aren't Christians. You know, we know that we serve a almighty God. We know that He can protect us from anything and everything. So why do bad things happen to us? Why do storms occur? Well, for that answer, we need to look at Job. Okay? For those of you who don't know Job was a very righteous man. He was very rich. He had a lot of cattle. He had a lot of children. He had a big house. Life was great. One day, Satan goes to God and says, you know, I bet if I take everything this man has, he will curse your name. And God says, you're on. And He allows Satan to go and do that. And he does. But Job never curses God's name. Instead, Job keeps the faith. God and him later have a confrontation about what's going on, and basically God says is, I'm doing this because I am God. And that's all you need to know. Is that God is God. Yes, we know the fact is that God said Job will be righteous to Satan, and that's why He allowed Satan to go do it. But Job didn't know that. Job was just like, oh, all this bad stuff happened to me, I don't know what I did. Everybody around him saying, oh, you sin, you just need to curse God's name and it'll be okay. No. It isn't how it works. Alright? So as Christians, when storms occur, we need to be like Job. We need to keep the faith. But sometimes it's hard to see God in that. Right? Well, as Christians, we are here to worship God and to build His kingdom. Correct? Well, if it's hard to see God's plan in the middle of a storm, how are we supposed to keep moving forward? And for that, we're going to look at Luke 9. Okay, Luke 9 basically describes Jesus' worst day ever. Alright, just to give you some of the highlights of his day. He wakes up and finds out John the Baptist has been murdered by King Herod. His cousin. Jesus' cousin has been murdered. Head chopped off, put on a silver plate, if I'm not mistaken. Second, Herod now hears about this Jesus fellow and says, oh, well, I want to meet him. Why does he want to meet this Jesus fellow? Because there's a chance that it's a new John the Baptist and he wants to kill him. So Jesus flees with his disciples away. And he's trying to get away to reflect and to ponder and to mourn the loss of John the Baptist. But instead, in the middle of this storm, he performs miracles. I believe he performs the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000 during this time. And then during the end of the day, his disciples are having difficulty casting out a demon. And Jesus is so fed up by the end of this day. And he is tired of how faithless they are. He is aggravated in these passages in chapter 9. He's like, you have little faith. You can't cast out this demon. I don't think that's the exact verse, but that's basically what he says. You know? So if we look back on that day in particular, you see that Jesus, even though all of this stuff had happened, he's still doing God's work. He's still going out and showing people and helping people and showing them an unconditional love. He's preaching. He's showing love. That's what it boils down to. So from this, in the midst of a storm for the soul, we need to keep pushing forward with God's plan. You know, a lot of the time it's hard to see God's plan anyway. But as long as we know that we're on the right path, it's going to be okay. You know, you go to church, you're in the worship, you're the worship leader, and let's say you had a bad week. Are you just going to give up worshiping God during this bad week? No. In fact, you need to praise Him in this storm. Even though you may not be able to see Him or to feel Him through the roar of the lightning and the sound of the thunder and the rain and all of that, it's important to keep the faith and to keep moving forward. You must never give up, and you can never surrender. And furthermore, God isn't going to put you through something that you can't handle. And most of the time, you know, when things are put under great amounts of stress, good things occur in the end. 2 examples. The first example is when a woman goes into labor, it is probably one of the most intense things she will ever experience in her life. It is not fun, it is painful, and by the end of it, she's wore out, she's fought a good fight, and she's given birth to something of beauty and peace until it gets home and is hungry. But that's besides the point. The point is that even in the midst of these troubles and this situation, beauty will still be produced. Let's talk about a piece of coal. When a coal is put under a great amount of pressure and stress, it becomes a diamond. So why don't you take the opportunities to allow your lumps of coals to become diamonds and to use them for your benefit and to use them for God? You know, like I said before, never give up, never surrender. Thank you.